Hi, I'm Erica.
And I'm Lynn. And today, who do we have here with us on the set?
We have a guest. It's Laura Ingalls Wilder from the Little House on the Prairie series and the books. And she's here today because we're using Andover's Little House on the Prairie fabrics in the quilt that we're sharing today.
Right, and we have quite a few fans here.
We do.
Of this fabric line, so it's exciting. And I'm also excited about this quilt is called Laura's Kitty Quilt.
That's right.
And I like the idea that we're using the cat die. So
you're kind of attached to this die, aren't you?
Yes, the gingham cat was one of our original dies, and it is just well loved and a great really addition to your library.
Right.
So I'm glad that we've got this new quilt and can showcase it. So let's take a look at the quilt behind us. So this does use the 12-inch cube as well. For the half squares and the quarter squares and the 6.5-inch square there.
Right, and then we've appliqued the little cats on top, and in our sample here and on our sample blocks here too, we've used a blanket stitch for that. Of course, our applique shapes are designed for a fusible method, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Right, and I love the fact that, so this not only because of the fabric itself with the Laura Ingalls Wilder, but also so you have all of your different cats here, so it really represents different breeds, or you know, if you're a cat lover, I think it's just a fun quilt.
Well, and we really liked how the fabric turned out on one cat in particular. If you look at this little cat up here, you can see that the way it was cut on the fabric, she's got her little collar and almost makes her legs and little flower toes for her. Right.
So I don't know if that was serendipitous or if she did that.
I think it was, but we've decided to enjoy that.
Yes,
so
wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our cube dies, and we have, this one is our large 6-inch finished quarter square. So we're going to cut that first.
Okay.
And I think we've got 6 layers here. And that will cut these pieces.
Perfect.
And then here we have, this is the large 6-inch finished half squares, which will cut this piece.
Okay, so we'll be putting together the 2 quarter squares with the 1 half square, and we're going to cut those today on our Go Big electric cutter, but these dies would also fit in a Go cutter as well.
Yes. So I'll have these for you here in a minute.
Okay, so that I can start sewing. It's just, when you're working with the quarter square triangles, you do want to double check yourself as far as your layout while you're going. I frequently get a little confused on how I'm laying them out. So laying them out like we've got them here to make sure that you've got them correct is always a pretty good idea because they can masquerade as a half square triangle if you don't watch them carefully. So when I lay this out, I'm going to just double check myself that these are going to be the way they go together, and then you want to be sure you sew them together the right way too, right, Lynn?
Right, yes, definitely want to make sure you've got everything the way that the way that you want it.
And the dog-eared corners will help you with that. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on getting these quarter squares put together then. And because these are larger shapes, Lynn, I think if you did your cutting, chain pieced them all together, you would have this done in no time, be ready to kind of focus on doing that applique.
Right, absolutely. Oh, and I did want to bring up, I've got the cat die here while you're doing that. So we've got the charm packs here that we have of the Laura Ingalls Wilder fabric line, and these are pre-fused, and they're perfect for this cat.
Yes.
So the cat die, and you'll have a little bit of an extra piece, extra scrap for it. And then also you can use layer cakes for the larger 12-inch cube shapes as well. So use those pre-cuts. You know, if you love them and you want to make them scrappy, then this is perfect for them.
It's a great way to get that scrappy look really easily, especially if you don't have a lot of extra scraps sitting around, although it's usually not my problem, although sometimes you don't have the scraps in the right color that you need. So I got distracted, sorry.
And so the dog-eared corners on all of our triangles, that makes it so easy to put those together.
And We've got it laid out. I can go ahead and press this really quickly. And again, I would chain piece these together and then chain press them together. And because of those dog-eared corners, as Lynn pointed out, if I press it right, there we go, we're done. So when you get this square put together, you don't have to go back then and do all that extra trimming on the corner. So we talk about being 90% faster when we cut, but it's even more when you factor in the additional trimming that you're able to avoid.
Yeah, look at those edges right there. They match up perfectly, and there's no pinning at all involved, as you saw Erica sew that
And as an
together.
active pinner, you know that normally I would, but so that went together in just no time. We could have all of those done. We could pre-fuse our fabric, cut it out for our cat, and then just come back in, lightly fuse it on here and do a nice little blanket stitch or whatever stitch you really like to do. If you want to do a zigzag or a satin stitch, that would work too.
Right, and you can use contrasting threads if you like. You can definitely match this to your personality.
And personalize your kitties.
Right, exactly.